Like, I remember at GrowthCon in 2019, you're like, yo, we're going to sneak in the VIP. I'm like, I'm not following you. Like, you have fun.
Hey, we got in.
So the green is what I will drag and drop over from day to day, which is why I really like Google Calendar. You just drag and drop.
For anybody who just like wants to get ready, you could then show them the challenge, and nothing comes out perfect. It's a little rough around the edges at first. And so what? At least you started.
This is the Be More Show for agents, where you'll find real talk, and ambition. We're here to build real businesses and be more than your average agent. We want to know what killers are actually doing within their businesses, the reality of it, all tactical, no fluff. So we're here to find out. Please share and enjoy.
Ruben Garcia!
Ruben in the house!
In the house, man.
Let's go.
Dude, you're like one of our favorite people of all time.
Samesies.
Yes.
Okay, I wanted to start out a little bit with like how I know you, where I met you, and like what I think of when I think of Ruben, which is, dude, I remember when I was still in the Army and I was like, I guess I need to go with Keller Williams as the firm. That's what everyone was saying back in the day. And I walked into the Keller Williams Fayetteville office and there was this goofy dude, and he had this big suit, like a colorful, like checkered, ridiculous thing, which is so funny if you know Ruben now. If you could see him on YouTube, he does not, he wears t-shirts.
I can't even imagine that.
Dude, he was like sitting in his office like, hey, welcome. And I walk in and there's Grant Cardone books, there's Gary Keller books, there's like, he, you know, think big, all this mind. And I was like, this is where I need to be. Little did I know it wasn't Keller Williams that was that cool. It was Ruben. Not talking about Keller Williams, but that was my first impression of you. And yeah, that, I have a lot more, but we'll get there later. How are you?
I'm doing good. I mean, I remember you even walking into the office and I was like, yeah. I mean, the energy just clicked, right? And you were like, you could already tell you were going to be one of those hustlers, go-getters. And I was stoked to even just work with you, and anytime you came in the office, I was stoked to help. Like that was a good time. Although it was at a different office, that was a good time. Because even remember, like we would wake up early and we'd be the two in the office, the earliest.
100%.
It's
like both. It was dark out.
Yep.
So, Ruben, every single podcast that we have, we started off with breaking the ice, but not like normal ice-breaking questions. We are asking you what your most embarrassing moment is. Like, let's start it from the most like show moment you have. What do you want to share with us?
Totally. So don't hold back.
No, man, and I'm not. I was in my head about this and I was like, what is it? And I just finally texted my wife and I was like, yo, what's the most embarrassing thing I've ever been through? She was like, you don't get embarrassed. I was like, you're right. Like, cause I mean, I keep meat in a bag and that's how I eat it. I squeeze it like a freaking, like one of those pops you get at the quick stop. Just, it's
You're
gross.
An animal.
It's gross.
What's wrong with you?
And I do it in public cause I just don't care. So it's, you know, all of that. What did she say? Hold on. She sent me something.
First of all, what kind of meat? Is this like, I'm thinking ground beef in a Ziploc. Is that?
That's literally how I cook my meat. So I get ground what, like if it's ground turkey, I don't do ground like hamburger. Ground turkey, I slam that thing on a tray and I throw it in the oven.
And that's it. No salt, pepper, nothing.
A little bit of salt and pepper, But I just break off chunks and shove it in my mouth because that's easier.
Yeah, you're fucking nasty.
Yeah,
well,
exactly.
If you're not embarrassed by anything, we're going to have to ask you a backup question.
You're good. She said, I was thinking when you tried to see Grant Cardone and the cop was like, nope. So I tried sneaking in into Grant Cardone's office. That didn't work. The cop actually told me to leave. And then going down on the floor of places and getting kicked out. Oh, going to events and going to like the VIP sections and getting kicked out. So that's
Dude,
what
it's
she
funny because you always try to get people to follow you. Like I remember at GrowthCon in 2019, you're like, yo, we're going to sneak in the VIP. I'm like, I'm not following you. Like, you have fun.
Hey, we got in.
Yeah, no.
We got to get right back out, but we got in. It was a goal, man. It was like a little bit more challenging, so whatever.
Okay, fine. We accept that for now as an embarrassing story. And now, okay, I want to shift into your background, like pre-real estate, and then like your real estate journey. So hit us with that.
Yeah, I try not to think about that. No, I'm messing. I was at the gym and I saw this chick there and I was like, yo, did you go to Southview High, which is my high school? And she said, yeah, you're RJ. And I was like, all right, this is where we stop. So when you ask me about my past, if I hear the name RJ, it's not even a past I want to affiliate with. It was just crazy times, all of that. If I hear, this is different, and I don't know if you guys even want to go here. If I hear Garcia, then that's my UPS days. So that may be where we pick up is I was at UPS for 12 years. That's where I got proven by Ruben was UPS or Super G or Jose or Gonzalez or every Spanish name out there they called me. Go.
Your
Sorry.
initials aren't even J, dude. It's RG.
Well, we kind of messed with each other. Oh yeah, no, RJ. J is my middle name, James.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
I accept.
So I actually was. That's who I was. But it's funny how life you transition and you grow and you turn into someone else. And honestly, words are important, and names kind of help me transition into those different lives. But Garcia was UPS, and I did that for 12 years till I wanted to get on out of there. I actually built the numbers where I could retire a millionaire. Like I had it all worked out, and it wasn't working out. And people were married to the check, and I asked a lot of drivers, and people were basically going to work for the check, but missed their kids' baseball game, missed their anniversaries, miss, and miserable. And I was like, well, shoot, man, I could do something about this. And I just started finding a path. Someone said you'd be good at sales. And I said, well, I'm going to try to sell the biggest thing I could think of at the time, which was a house. And so I went into real
time
estate
frame
school.
was this? What year are we talking?
So been in real estate for 8 years, I think. So 8 years ago.
Oh, dude, you made us do the math? I see what you did there. He's like, I'm not doing the math. Like, we're like 20, 23 minus 8.
Minus now.
Gotcha. Dude, so that time you're at UPS 8 years ago. You were like, I'm going to sell the biggest thing possible. And you're in Fayetteville, North Carolina, and you come into real estate. And then like, what is that? Take us from there.
Yeah. So what do I do? Yeah. Come into real estate because someone I was going to school with, I was taking business admin at the time, and someone in my class was at Coldwell Banker, and they said, listen, I see you're in class. You might as well come to Coldwell Banker. I said, cool. Yeah, that's fine by me. And so that's where I started. I walked in there and, we're not dogging any companies, right?
Yeah.
However,
for sure.
when I went in there, I was like, they went over all the financials and like, this is your split. And I was like, cool. Can I take that paper with me? And they were like, no, you can't take it. And that was a huge red flag. Was like, why can't I take this with me? And what I later found out is they do a lot of negotiating per agent at the office, and they don't want anybody arguing, of proof that they have at the time, but they may have changed things. But I started there, was there for about 6 months, scared. I stayed there late. I remember I came up with all these like creative in my mind. They were super creative ways to sell homes. And my mentor at the time was like, listen, dude, that's stupid. What you need to do is watch what I do. And it was some old dude who was like boring as all get out. And I was like, this isn't it. And then I tried branding myself. No.
How dare you?
Yeah. So I left 6 months. It was about 6 months. I ended up leaving Coldwell Banker, and boom, I was at Keller Williams. Did that, helped grow a team to do, I think, a little over 13 million its first year. And volume. That's not net. And became rookie of the year that year as well. But really started to realize, man, like, I don't know, the sales part is really my passion. It's more of like scaling the actual business and scaling humans, helping them learn more and the accountability and all of that. And then eventually just moved into the CEO role later.
At KW.
Yeah, I'm pausing in case you guys got any questions, because I kind of ran through a lot right there.
Well, I'm just surprised. I never knew you were at Coldwell.
Yeah,
I was like, or maybe. Oh.
It's all good.
Okay, gotcha. Well, and I'm also curious, like, did you do any sales at Coldwell? Then you moved to KW. You were there for 1 year, rookie of the year, and then you were CEO. Like, that's really fast.
No. So I had one listing at Coldwell Banker. Well, what was the price point on that? $399, I think. Big time for me, Still kind of big time here in Fayetteville, right?
It is.
But it was co-listed with another agent. So, of course, that listing stayed and I left. So once I left, I went to Keller Williams and, like I said, helped grow that team. And it was about a year and a half. The CEO position became available. And I was like, that's something that's scary. Let's see if I can do it.
We love your DMs on Instagram. And as long as you don't sound like a bot or aren't sharing your overnight crypto success, hit us up on Instagram. Let's be friends. We're at The Shelby Show and at Allie the Agent.
And of course, they said no, right? You don't have enough time, I guess, selling real estate. You wouldn't understand this. And people know you here in this office, right? Like, it's almost like the parent telling the kid to do something, but the kid's not listening until somebody else comes into town. Now they're listening to that person. And that's how they saw it. And I said, okay, cool. I was like, listen, if I don't get this, I'm leaving. I'm leaving and I'm going to be a CEO at one of these offices. It's either yours or someone else's. Yeah, I knocked on the door enough times where they finally allowed me in. And then I became that. I had that role. And then we broke records every single month, which was a lot of failing forward moments, personal growth for myself. And even just then, like there was a top agent at KW and they were also going to go for that position, but they wanted to do research. They wanted to ask other CEOs. They wanted to talk with them. How's the life? How's the pay? How's the bonus? How's the, when I was already had my foot in the door. And I was like, I'm going to figure it out when the day comes, you know? And that was a huge lesson for me, is just take action. Like, he waited too long. And by the way, he's still selling real estate. So, which is nothing
he's still
wrong
gathering
with
that research.
Yeah, nothing. Yeah. He's running his own team. So I guess he's a CEO of his own team, but I was the CEO of the office. And that's not like an ego trip. I was just saying, like, you got to move into something that you might believe in that moment. Don't get caught in getting ready. So that was a huge lesson for me. And another lesson was not caring if people liked me. That was a hard one for me, because I want people at the time. I wanted people to really, really like me. I don't know. Like, I just wanted that kind of recognition and love.
Most people do. Yeah. It's very normal. Yeah.
It is.
And we love you, Ruben.
Thank you.
Yeah,
well,
we love you.
It takes time.
Yeah.
But, you know, I was told that you can love people right out of this business. And without enough accountability, without really pushing them and showing them, you can love them right out of the business. They won't make any money and they'll be out. And the book Extreme Ownership was a punch in my face too. And that's when I really started to just hold accountability at a much higher level. But we started doing really well. Our agents were making more money. We had more profit share than we've ever had. Cappers galore. The listings table was falling off we used to have a board. I used to have the front desk print out more listings and it just fell off the board ever. This is the first time ever. But it was through a high accountability.
That's awesome, dude. Yeah, so many lessons in there, especially the one that jumps out at me the most is literally just taking action. Just start, just even if you fail, even if you think people aren't going to like you, just start. I hear like a lot of agents, especially newer agents, being scared of going to a listing appointment, especially if they're new and they're like, well, I don't have anybody there with me. Like, no one's like sitting with me shoulder to shoulder. It's not two agents with a client. And I'm like, the best way for you to learn and figure it out is go and fail, like maybe not get that listing, but you know what not to say next time, you know what to say next time. So I like that a lot. Can you take us to where you are now in real estate?
Yeah. First I'll say you should fail. Like if you're nervous about failing, fan-freaking-tastic, because it's going to happen. It's going to happen to every single one of us. It's kind of it's the byproduct of success, right? Like the great things have to be followed by the worst things, right? You can't enjoy sunshine without the rain. I mean, if you look at everything in life outside of business, there's a give and take out of everything. There's a yin and yang, everything. So fail and fail more. So where am I at now? I do what I call real estate CIA. So this may help. So I do coaching or consulting for real estate firms and just for our agents. And then I is investing. So we do short-term rentals, long-term rentals, and we have an RV rental as well. And then the A is the agent side. So we collect leads and then I pass the leads. And we do on average about 50 closings a month or a year. Maybe I'm moving up to 50 a month for my own personal stuff.
You are.
Yeah. Oh, as a team, we're doing like around 2,000 a year, 2,000 closings.
Which is amazing. I love that. And I love that, the journey from Keller Williams over to, it was funny because Drake actually asked me about this the other day. He was like, how did you guys leave, make the decision to leave. And I just thought it was really interesting that like the three of us like decided right there and then all made the decision over a weekend to just pick up our entire businesses and move to a different opportunity. And ever since then, it's just been like, sky's the limit, which is cool.
This is why I think it's hard sometimes for us to understand why people wait so long, right? Because
it was immediate. We were like, yo guys, like it's time, right? And me and Mike looked at each other and we're like, yep. And we were gone by Monday. That was Friday.
Yep. It only took a weekend, And it was once you make that commitment though, I mean, what's the point? What's the point of waiting? It's the inevitable. Just take the jump. And it was good. It was definitely jumping in the fire because at that time EXP didn't have all its good things.
Shit together.
Yeah. And we were like, we built our own onboarding. Like we had to figure it out. So it got a lot better, but it's been 100% worth it. But I could see, this is where Shelby and I were talking not too long ago. She was like, yo, chill out on some of the agents. And I was like, yeah, but no excuses. They should be. And this is because we have the same pattern of just jumping into something and wondering why others don't do the same if the opportunity is right in front of them.
Highly aggressive, but in a great way, in my completely biased opinion.
I smile when I do it.
Okay, Ruben. So now we kind of know where you came from, what you did in real estate, where you are now. This whole show is about how to build real businesses. So like leverage automation systems, how to do more with less time and money, which I know is totally your jam. So if you had to pick like one piece of your business from an agent perspective or from what you're doing now that's like on lock that you could like break down for us, what does that look like?
So I think it might be not as sexy as someone might be waiting for since that buildup was just there. But it's going to be, and tell me if you guys want me to go in a different direction. But the number one thing to me, and y'all probably already know it, is what I call the freedom structure or the calendar. The calendar to me is absolutely everything. We had 10 meetings / appointments today, and this is the last one. Like, how am I going to be done at 4:30-ish and be done with 10 appointments, like Zoom calls, meeting people? I was on a Winners Wednesday kind of podcast thing earlier, and still doing 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, reached out to 35 people. It looks like we had better than a 2-to-1 conversion and set 2 appointments. How does this even happen? It's because we're very, very, and I say we a lot, right? It's me, but very, very intentional.
And that person in your head.
I know. Listen, when I put on the hat, the sound stopped. That's weird. I've got somebody else in here. But now that's some of the verbiage back in the day. I would always say we to the client, so they felt as if there was a whole team behind it. And it's just stuck with me. So, but yeah, we're very intentional for the time that we've blocked out. And for anybody who's listening to this and was like wanting to write notes on it, what we do is stand tall, TALL, within our time. And if I have something I want to do, then I stand tall, TALL. The T is time. What time am I going to get X activity done? Is it lead generation? Is it open house? Is it exercise? Is it personal? You should be the whole world, your whole world. Personal, professional. What time are you going to do that thing? The A is activity. What thing are you going to do? Right? What are you going to do within that time? The L is location. How many people have said they've dedicated or they've committed to something, but then they're like, I don't know where I'm going to do this. The time it's happening. Like, I don't know. Should I do it upstairs? Should I do it downstairs? Should I do it in the kitchen? Should I be doing this across the street? Should I be doing it in an office build? You should already have figured that out. Where are you going to be? And then the L, the last L is leverage. What do you need in order to get that activity done at that time in that location? And if you can get very specific, you're going to get very intentional within that time. So it's free, guys. It's also free. So that's what I use. I would say for me, that's my number one.
I think it's sexy as by the way.
Me too. Yeah. But it's just when I bring it up,
a calendar.
Like when I talk to
yeah,
a firm or a class or an event, and they're like, "Yo, what do you want to talk about?" I was like, "Calendar," and they're like, "Okay, all right, well, we could just talk about artificial intelligence or something that'd be better." So to me, it's sexy, but to others, sometimes maybe not.
Yeah, I follow you on Instagram. We both do. For anyone that does, they see you every single morning. It's like accountability to yourself. I'm thinking of like, hey, your normal spiel, which I love. And it's like so motivating to others. Like, hey, this is Ruben Garcia. I have 10 meetings today. And a lot of people don't even fucking have one. You know, like you have 10 and you're converting, you're closing, you're investing, you're doing all the things. Let's I guess take it from the beginning. What calendar do you use? When do you plug in? Like step one, in case an agent never has used a calendar before.
It's a good question. So I use Google, which there's a big reason for that. Is because usually it plays nice with all other platforms. And it's usually easier to get in. But I know you guys use a different calendar. That's just what I have felt has worked best for
Google.
us.
I love Google.
Oh, do you? Okay,
oh,
good.
Look.
Yeah, we got
I'm the weirdo.
We
Shelby.
got
That's
our
fine.
outlier outlook over here. But hell, if it works, run with it. So I do. Yeah, that's what I use. Is I use Google. What does it look like? So we run, and here I go with acronyms. We run what we call PC. So anytime something comes up that we need to do, we make a promise to that person, someone other than ourselves. Raise your hand if you've let yourself down before, right? So stop. So,
Sorry. Okay. You weren't asking me. Got it.
Well,
Okay.
by the way, this is all self-reflection, right? Like this has all happened to me. But I make a promise to somebody else, somebody who's going to hold me accountable, could care less about my feelings, literally will give me for not getting that thing done. So I'll make a promise to that person, or it's the commitment of like some of these EXP agents that I've been setting up these KV core trainings with. I made a promise to them I would show up at a certain time. Big difference than saying I'm going to make a promise to myself. And then the C is calendar. So when are we going to do this? And then you move right into the stand tall. What time? What's the activity? Where am I going to sit? And what's the leverage that I need? Do I need headphones? Do I need a camera? The whole thing. But that's the beginning stages of that.
I have a question. Okay. So that's the beginning stages. And as you're doing this, like how often, I guess, do you have like in your calendar, do you mostly have like appointments and events, or do you like time block? Like, how does that piece look like?
Everything so my RJ days, I got kicked in the head a lot. Just a lot of scrapping and all of that. And I literally think it kind of messed up my memory. So I have built all these systems to truly help out me just to remember things. And so one of those things is, if I do have that type of commitment that comes into my life, I mean, the first thing, and it's personal and it's professional. It really doesn't matter. Literally in my calendar, I have every day, 15 minutes of sun, 5 to 10 minutes of breath work, and make sure I get 7 to 8 hours of sleep the best I can. So like everything, I have to buy a new shaver because I cut my own hair because I'm a cheapskate, and I dropped it in the tub and it exploded. And I was like, God, I just bought it. But anyways, I put on Saturday, buy shaver. I mean, it's everything that happens in my life. Later today, after this, I put walk Samps, which is our dog. So I've got another acronym for you guys, and it goes Corvette. So anytime I'm like lost and I'm stuck, I run my Corvette, CVETT. And so after this, if I'm feeling lost, like, oh my God, what am I supposed to do? My brain's too small. I don't remember. C means calendar. I immediately pull out my calendar, like, oh, I should be walking my dog right now, right? He's like back there upset at me. So the calendar is always going to put me back in check, always. The V is voicemail. Did I miss a call from somebody who's important? We have some substance to talk about. E, email. T, text message. So I kind of run through, did anything important come through those avenues? And then the last T is task. So it's CVETT, Corvette. And then I just check my tasks, which are already done in the morning within my CRM.
So it comes up like as far as when you do it, it's as needed, right? So as soon as you drop that razor, you break something, you need to buy it. That's when you put it into your calendar, even if you're in the shower.
Like on the spot.
It's not like in the morning. It's not like you block out time to then do your calendar. You just do it as you go.
Yeah. And so now that is blocked out on a Saturday for me to get done. I don't know when this podcast is coming out. They told me not to talk about it until there's like some stuff to push out. But I'm going to be on the EXP Shareholder Summit. I'm going to be on the stage introducing people, like the big stage.
MC?
Congrats.
Damn, that's freaking sick.
Hold up. All right. Just hold on.
I'm getting a t-shirt with your face on it.
Yo, listen, I've got some cool stuff planned because I'm supposed to do like a band. Yeah. Well, man, there's so many things I could talk about with that because I asked about all this. Where was I going to go with that? Oh, there's names I have to introduce. So it's in my calendar at the end of the day to read these names, 4 to 5 names, because I'm tearing up these last names. So every day I do it. But how would I remember to do that? So on my calendar, I'm either transitioning X task to another day because it's not really that big of a deal. It's not really in my 20%. I could pass it to the next day, or I've completed it and I've cut it off. So each day behind today is empty. So, I mean, it is part of this is what I do to live today. I've got to knock this stuff out.
Yeah. So it seems like your calendar, correct me if I'm wrong, that your calendar also doubles as your to-do list, or do you keep another to-do list? And if so, how do you organize that?
My calendar is my thing. Even so, in the morning when I'm reaching out to these 40 people or however many people I contacted, it's in there to go into my database and do my tasks. So the tasks may be telling me who I need to reach out to and for what reason. So that's kind of a to-do list within that time slot. But no, my calendar is the conductor of my life, period.
Are there different colors for like to-do lists versus?
We have so many questions.
Yeah. Let's go like deep, dude. Yeah. Like what colors do you do for each?
And by the way, you could choose your own. I'm a high eye, so like I need a little bit of color in this life if I'm staring at it all the time. But red is business. Green is if like I need to go by the bank or something like that. #money. Our RV rental, I know at all times because it's in gray. My family, my loved ones, and all the good stuff, purple. Let's see. The buy items, blue. So yeah, it's all broken down in colors.
Dude, okay, so I have a question about if your calendar is your to-do list. So like for me, I use Notion as my to-do list. And then I also go hard on the calendar, like big fangirl of the calendar. But Notion is kind of where I take like the task and go deep on the task. So like hypothetically, my calendar says update the website. I have my to-do list in which I expand. It's like, update the testimonials, update the whatever. And I make the entire list of like deep diving. So do you have that piece, or are you just like your brain knows update the website means like, how does that work?
So I don't.
Did I make sense? Oh,
yeah, it does. 100%. I'm trying to relate, but my brain is just trying to relate to said website. So I have a Google website that looks like crap. All right. We just brought on an agent who's apparently builds websites, and on our calls, like, don't look at mine. Please don't look at mine. And so that's where my brain went. But so I'm trying to think of, in the morning, I will have probably an extra 15 minutes before I make breakfast for my daughter and all the good stuff and family in general, but not big breakfast. Blueberries, raspberries, like power food. That's it. They can do their own stuff, the real substance. But in that time,
so you're preparing for blueberries. You literally just take it out of the fridge. You're like, excellent. I prepared my daughter breakfast.
Listen? I am to be a high eye, I am very structured. Each family member gets 20 blueberries.
No way. No, you're lying.
Wow. I've got the Swish cups. Swish cups? Some people use them for shot cups back in the day. But I'll fill that with raspberries. I'll give my 4-year-old 5 raspberries because we know that's superfood within our body. I'll do half a cup of seeds, sunflower seeds, because that's a power food too. Also, one little chunk of cocoa.
Strict ass diet.
Yeah, but listen, you can eat whatever you want to afterwards, but this shit's gonna help us. So down it in the morning as if it's our medicine.
It's like their vitamins. Oh, yes. I get it. Because like in my mind, I'm like, that's not a lot of food. Also, he's counting out these. Okay, if it's like.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's my structure after this 15 minutes. But man, it goes, I am ridiculous. Like even with, I don't even know if you guys want to go to this stuff. My brain is like firing on all cylinders right now. And I want to talk about all this, but I'm going to back up. So my 15 minutes ish that I even have check our EXP dashboard basically and find out if anyone capped yesterday, find out new agents, and find out offboarding agents. Pretty simple. And so I check that every day. And as Shelby has seen, I will text her if somebody has, right. Capped
1 year in EXP. This is his 2 year EXP.
So,
it's
but
very
once
cute.
I finish
it's very cute.
yeah. Well, the more people reaching out, like, congrats, it's probably going to help. But
exciting.
I delete it. So once I finish task, I delete it, but it's set as a reoccurring theme Monday through Friday, not the weekends, obviously. So that's one of my little 15-minute tasks. So that's kind of a to-do within the small amount of time that I do have, if that makes sense. I'm trying to relate it to your website. I don't know if that helped.
Example.
Yeah. So, Oh, Shelby, go ahead.
No, you go, girl.
Okay. So I also kind of do the same thing where I have like different colors for events, like actual appointments that I need to go literally drive to or be on a Zoom call for. And then my green are like my to-do list. So the green is what I will drag and drop over from day to day, which is why I really like Google Calendar. You just drag and drop. But I find that sometimes, I actually started doing what Shelby, what you do, or I guess you do Notion now or whatever. Anyway, I started having a to-do list separately on Evernote, but also trying to use my Google Calendar, and I wouldn't check both, So I was like, you know what, let me move this all to my calendar. So that way I know however long or lengthy that one task is or event that I can just drag and drop, I'll get to it eventually. I find that there is so much in there in that one to-do list though, that there's like, how I have, it takes me like 5 minutes just to order it in importance, Any suggestions on that?
Yeah, don't do it. I just do. So I'm looking right now at I'm just looking at tomorrow. So I'm trying to find I don't do that. If I'm trying to find like a very more in-depth task, but almost maybe if it's too much in depth, maybe I shouldn't be doing it. Maybe that's something I should have already passed off to somebody else to do, because everything literally just lives in my calendar, and that's it. I'm trying to find an example.
For me, that's why I use Notion. And dude, we're all calendar nerds here for sure. But like, I use Notion because that's where I have all of the different categories of all the different projects I'm working on that I can't accomplish quickly. And of course, everyone's going to do it differently. Everyone has their own flow and stuff. But like that is the place where like I take all of my projects, like podcast was a project, now that I'm back on social media, like that's a project. The website in itself was a whole project. Or if you're an agent, it's, lead gen. Maybe it's your operations within your business or, your ability to do sales. And then within those categories is where you have a place to like store all of your thoughts for maybe down the road. But I do agree with you, Ruben, that like, if it's on my list for too long, I eventually get to the point where I'm like, I either don't care that much about this or it should be at someone else's plate.
Yeah, I am working on 100%. And I'm working on right now, again, learning KV Core. And I'm building this conversation really that we're going to have with the agents to just show how these other EXP agents are using KV Core at a very high level with free and very low paid ads. So I have a Word doc open, but I'm writing down my notes and then just retyping it on that doc. And then what am I going to do? I'm going to make a promise to everybody. I'm going to do this at a certain time, be there or be square, right? But it's all recorded. And then add it to the calendar. So once that's done, I upload that file within RevDev, which is our Facebook group for anybody who's listening. And then I'll go live in there and it's recorded and documented in RevDev. And then I'm done with it. So there's really no place where all this stuff lives. It's honestly, everything I'm working on needs to die somewhere. It just needs to make it somewhere. I've got a goal that it needs to be done by, and it just goes there. Man, I wish I could help more. I do have Dropbox, and I live by Dropbox. That's where my files and my brain lives. That's why, Shelby, when your husband is like asking for things, boom, like he's got folders on folders of the information he's looking for.
Yo, real quick, this podcast is not free. Cost of admission is sharing with a buddy who'd benefit or throwing it on your Instagram story. Tag us. We'll reshare that.
I have a random question. You mentioned the 5 raspberries, a 7.2 blueberries, and all the things. Where did you find, you mentioned that it's like tailored to your family. Can you talk just super quick? I know this is not related to the calendar at all. Where did you get that information? How has that benefited your family?
So I needed to understand my body a little bit better, more than I have since research, right? It's so difficult to find the right information and product you should be putting into your body per person within your family. So we did a company called Viome, where you have to give some samples of yourself to this company, and then they send back everything, right?
Blood or
what
saliva?
your body, both, and stool.
Whoa!
Poop in a cup.
Yeah, you scoop it and you shove it in a tube.
Glassy won't have a
bad
problem
boy
with that.
Yeah, I mean, whatever, right? Like, so, I mean, how many times have we slipped our finger through the tissue, right? And got our, so we're near it all the time.
Just you, Ruben.
We don't even use tissues.
No, I'm messing. But yeah, so I do that, sent everything in, and then boom, mine looked different than my wife's, right? However, there were some similarities. And if I'm thinking the best I can think, if both of us have similar superfoods, then my 4-year-old has to have it, right? I don't know. But we're kind of testing that. And so it's blueberries, it's and raspberries right now. And we're trying to do avocado, but that's kind of a whole thing.
Not so much.
But that's where it came from.
Cool.
Aren't you? You're back on the knees and bellies, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Tell us, well, we know, but tell us what it is. What are you guys doing right now?
So Mike's also on this, by the way. About 10 of us. I was going to do it by myself. I put it on Facebook. Who wants to do it with me? And we got a group now. It's about 10 people. But all it is no alcohol, no added sugar. So apples and stuff is cool. You just can't have anything with added sugar. A whole list of oils you can't have. So I just try to avoid them all. No dairy, no bread. And that might be it. Oh, if it's meat, it can't be processed. It's basically has to be cut from the bone.
Eaten from the bag.
Yeah.
From the bag.
Hey, but it's not that hard this time around. It was very, 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 very difficult for me the first time around, but not as bad this time. But
and how long are you guys doing it?
A month and a half, right before I hit EXP Shareholder Summit in Florida.
You're going to take off your shirt on stage, twist it around your head like a helicopter?
North Carolina. I should. I got a plan, man. I got a plan. So, I don't, no, we'll wait.
For what? Fucking send it.
Because I don't,
you can't. Secret time.
Yeah, and it's like, it'll kind of ruin it. Just to say this, I'm be on stage with somebody else. I've already reached out to them and was like, hey, what do you think about this versus what maybe leadership or someone else wants us to do? And she agreed. And I was like, all right, let's just, between you and I, let's do this. And so I don't know what's going to happen. So we'll see. But it's my only chance. Yeah, I'm not going to, whatever. So I have my own arguments about in my own head. This is my one chance. And
with all the people up there.
I think I'm going to make the best of it, right? And I'm just going to take a risk. So it is what it is.
Dude, it's better to ask for forgiveness than permission. I firmly believe that.
And in my head, 100%. And in my head, I feel like they're going to love it. Because like we're surrounded by hustlers anyways. They're gonna be like, glad you did that instead of what we did. So we'll see.
Okay. We've gone on like a really long tangent, but bringing it back to the calendar. Yeah. What is there anything else that we didn't ask related to the calendar that you think is important?
So one thing that really helped my wife and I is both getting on the calendar, not just one person in the family, both. Like literally, she asked me if she wants to do anything. God, that sounded barbaric.
Terrible.
If she wants to do something together, she literally asked me, hey, what are you doing at this day at this time? And I'm like, yo, nothing. She's like, great, plug me in. We're doing this. Or the family's doing this. And I'm like, great. And so plug in. So our life lives on schedules, 100%.
I love it.
Yeah. Have you
vice versa.
Shared access to your calendar, or is it just like plugging them in?
Quick text. That's it. And then we have this like main magnet calendar. Oh my God, we are nerds. We got this
super nerd
magnet calendar on the fridge that we love. And so we'll add things on it, and it's kind of a walk by calendar. But yeah, we don't do anything without permission of someone else's calendar.
It's gonna be funny when your 4-year-old is like 4.5 and she like has her own calendar and just like, mommy.
Yeah. Or she's like trying to do a play date with somebody in the neighborhood and they're like, all right, cool. What's your calendar? And
right.
Like, so,
Totally.
Let's stand tall.
What are you talking about? Yeah.
It's so happening.
She's a G.
With the calendar stuff, Ruben, since that's like your nugget, do you have anything that you could give? I know you've already given a ton of acronyms. Like, do you have like a cheat sheet or a product or a class or whatever that you could give so people could have that nugget?
Yeah, I have a whole video on this, literally starting from beginning to nothing you have to ending it with everything you need within the calendar that I could easily give you guys. It's an hour long and it's all you need.
Perfect. Love it.
I got you.
Okay, I have a question. This is another off-topic one, real quick. Who do you fangirl, Ruben?
Who do I fangirl?
Yeah, like who are you like, dude, that person's awesome. Like anything they do, I'm like here for it. I'm all the likes.
Fangirl. Who do I fan over? Man, so many names just popped in my head. So I am attracted to the ones who say what they're going to do. So, I mean, and don't think I'm getting like all woo woo, but like y'all two for sure are y'all are in that category 1,000%. And I definitely look up to the things you guys do.
Oh my god,
we made it. We fucking made it.
I'm sweating and crying.
I want to say I'm nobody, but I want you to feel special too. But then Jen Sincero, whatever. I love her books on the community, how she talks about it. She's got the You're a Badass books. Also, a chick named Jen Henry. She was our regional director at the Locker Room, and we crush it. We were the #1 region in terms of like coaches. I love her coaching, her leadership style. Like when the first time I went to any type of retreat thing with the Locker Room and she was leading it, I just sat back and just watched. Have you ever just watched somebody, like you're not even listening, you're just like, they've got this down. Like, and you're just like downloading how they move, how they talk and their questions. That was her. Like I just like, dude, you've got this on a different level. So her, man, I don't know. That's a great question. I've never really sat back and analyzed that.
I love
Jen
that
Henry.
answer. Jen Henry is a coach, and I'll answer this one. I've never even met her in person, but being a part of track, like the free freaking coaching that we have, one of our assignments was to listen to a video that she had where she taught us, I forget which topic, I think it was setting boundaries with clients. And it was so good. I literally texted you, Ruben. I was like, who is Jen Henry? Where can I follow her? She's badass. I liked her a lot. Yeah.
Dude, I'm excited. I'm going to look her up.
She's an outside thinker too. She just opened a firm where the whole general idea is to not keep agents.
Great business model.
Companies run off company dollar in terms of real estate firms, right? Company dollar. That's how we survive. That's not her goal. She's got this niche that when she explained it to me, I was like, can I be an investor into this company? It's cool. It's training brand new agents to fly on their own. So she is essentially surrounded by other firms that that have agents go through their programs there, licensed at that firm to leave to go to these other firms. It's a killer idea, and I don't know, she's killing it. She's doing great.
Yeah, I mean, I guess with the amount of people, agents always transferring brokerages, might as well find a way to make that work and be beneficial to everyone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Nice.
It's cool the way she's built it.
So fast forward in life, what does the end state look like for you, personal and real estate wise?
Yeah. So one thing I've found myself really in, and this is kind of one of those things you do because you do it, you don't talk about it, you know? But since you asked the question, one thing I get a lot of like just fulfillment out of is giving people money. And where it started was when the gas prices were going bananas, and at the gas pumps, if I saw somebody who just looked as if they were struggling, maybe car was kind of hurting, or it was a small business of some sort, I would just give them money and tell them to fill up their gas tank. And like the way that they felt, like it was just, it just filled me up. You know, it was very cool to just give to someone without them ever asking for it. Never thought it would come, struggling, pissed off that day, wondering how they're going to pay their bills. Maybe got kids in the car. Maybe they use that money for something else. But like the amount of like, dude, you don't got to do this. And I'm like, I know, but something's kind of pushing me forward to do. Anyways, I want to do that at a higher level. It's just to give kind of randomly, not to necessarily charities or anything like that, but just if I see someone and I feel that calling, just to kind of have the cash with me and just do that. To me, that's going to be really cool at a much higher level than what I'm doing now, which is not as much, right? But that's what I'm going to get to a position where we got so much money coming in. I just don't even care. Like I would just essentially give as much of it away randomly.
I love
and then, sorry.
I was just gonna say it was really cool. It was impactful to me, similar lines, but like when I watched my uncle, who's wealthy, write tips at like, we'd go to a dinner and they're not, they're expecting like whatever percent and he'll leave $100 and just like watching that, if they did a good job, you know what I mean? When they're just like doing their job and they're not expecting anything extra. And then it's like, that's like a lot of money, you know what I mean? Just in that moment, which I think was really cool. Go back, your turn.
No, and you're right. You're right. And what's cool is, and I'll ask you, did that waitress or waiter share their story? Did they talk about them at all? Or was it a tip and that was kind of the end of the story there?
No, it was a tip and that was kind of the end of the story. But I guess their story unfolded a little bit when they were, when people are being really engaging and really, friendly and helpful, then it kind of their personality comes out in that way.
Yeah, 100%. I remember because with this, you do share stories if you do start handing out cash or whatever. And one of the dudes, it was a guy pulling a trailer with the lawnmowers, and I figured he was just cutting lawns, but he cuts lawns for free for veterans, right? And we just kind of got into that conversation, and it was so cool to kind of give to that cause that he just goes around for people, for disabled veterans who can't necessarily cut their own lawn. He just goes around and does it for free. So it was cool to like help fund that and know their stories and all of that jazz. So yeah, that was cool.
Well, don't forget that when you get ready to give out some money, and I love how you say given too instead of giving. It's like so North Carolina of you. I just want to be given. But
I just want to give you some money.
I just want to give. Don't forget to stand tall and put that in your calendar, Ruben.
Okay.
I know, right? You listen, if I get around my country friends, I'm saying Bo. Like y'all don't even like a lot of that, like, all right, then Bo, but it sounds like all right, Bo. It gets crazy.
God,
I really don't even know what you're saying right now.
I know, most people don't.
Lost.
Yeah. So it gets crazier is all I'm saying. But also I also want to, in some level, and I don't know really where this goes, I'm kind of doing it, but just on a higher level, is I want to hit more stages. But the stages I want to hit is more for kids, right? Like high school, maybe college, but very low, like just joined college. That type of mind I want to infiltrate and try to save them before they get too indoctrinated by what society says and what school says and all of that, and talk to them about their possibilities in entrepreneurship and real estate. You don't even have to love it like me. I love it now, but I didn't. It was just a way out of my current situation. Like there's all these avenues and I want them to know that. And I want to talk to them about that because we change one, dude, we're impacting a good amount of people. So that's something I definitely want to do as well in the future.
Love that.
At a higher level.
Yeah. I
Adorable.
have one question that I had going back to your calendar stuff. Actually, before Shelby let you into this Riverside, we were joking that it was like 1 minute past the hour. I was like, we better let him on, otherwise he's going to cancel on us and tell us that we wasted his time. So we were joking. That's why we were laughing when you jumped on the call. But I had a question regarding that.
I don't know. Are you doing video on this or is it just
audio? It's video.
326. Oh, it might not do it. But I messaged you guys on WhatsApp. I'm in.
That's
still
so
good.
You're waiting for
I know you wanted me in 5 minutes earlier. I was wondering if we were still on.
Oh my God. Yeah, that is true because you actually did read the show notes. Like I don't expect anyone to read it and it's like come 5 minutes early, but we were getting our together.
Yeah, we were.
If you noticed, I gave you what you were looking for an hour before this, just in case this got rescheduled and I didn't waste my time doing it a week or two when you first sent it. Only coming up to this event did it make sense to go ahead and finish the homework.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. And you're so good at that. You're so good at like just setting your own boundaries, which comes with like hand in hand, I think, with the calendar. Can I ask you, how did you learn that? And what are your rules? Like, if I know that I think you have like a 5-minute rule pretty much, like I think that goes with anyone too. So how did you start implementing that? And how do you stick with that? Even when, say, it's like a client that could be a big deal or whatever it is.
So it all started when I was a single father. Literally all this calendar stuff started when I was a single. By the way, where you probably find out very quickly is my memory sucks, or I only do something because it's the benefit of the larger group. Not necessarily me. It's just that I'm the byproduct of the benefits of said thing. So calendar was because I was going to school. I was doing UPS, taking as many hours as possible, raising my oldest daughter. She was 3 weeks when I took custody. So trying to figure out, just everything with a baby. So that's feeding time, that's sleeping time. Why do you think I keep my phone on silent? That's where it came from.
It wouldn't wake up the baby?
It once woke her up, and listen, no sleep as a single parent when you have an infant. And then it woke her up. I was like, and so I turned it off, and it's been off ever since. But that's where it was born from. In the calendar, the doctor events, the doctor scheduling and everything else all came from trying to figure out and be the best dad, employee, student. And then I started real estate school and an entrepreneur that I could be at those certain times. So that's how it got built. And then so if anybody wanted to interrupt my time, I couldn't focus on that. And so that's where people had to be on time, or I had to be on time at the doctor's office for my daughter or whatever. So that's where it was born. It's just kind of, became more rigid as I've gotten older.
Dude, I love it. And it also like terrifies. Well, now we're at the point where Allie and I probably both are like warning agents. Like when they first joined the team and we're like, guys, like do not be late. If he texts you, make sure you reply. You don't want to get cut off. Like
I literally tell the agents to join. I'm like, Ruben's going to text you. It's not spam. When he tells you to jump, you just ask how high because he will lead you in the right direction. So just do what he says. They're like, okay.
Yeah. There's like a small support group. Like within our community of like the people who've been cut out from Ruben. And they just all cry together. It's like I'm so sorry if you're listening. I know I'm thinking of particular people.
There are times, and I got called out too in Puerto Rico when we had our private mastermind in Puerto Rico by James. And he was like, yo, I don't like you. And I know you don't like me. And I was like, fair. I was like, also, because of that dynamic, late, energies just didn't mix. And I will say, I was like, dude, also, you caught me at that was a time in my life where everything was frustrating. I was trying to figure out this whole coaching thing. I went back to commission off salary of CEO, took a risk. My wife was pregnant. We were buying a home. Like that was a very intense time in my life. Just another entrepreneurial jump. Are we going to make it? And he caught me in that. So I took my time extremely serious at that, and so I apologized and all that. So that being said, I'm sure there will be a time where I need to apologize to some of these people too. Just know that there is a story where you guys aren't the only ones. And there was I might have been in that intense time in my life as well.
Totally feel that. Okay, I think I have my last question until we go to the wrap up. But I want to ask, what would you consider do you have like a vice that you're working on or something that you know about yourself that you're trying to adjust a little bit, or what is that?
Oh man, that's a great question. I almost want to write that down for my future stuff.
Real quick, if you're listening to this on Apple does not make it easy to leave us a rating. So I'm going to break this down for you. In the search tab, type in the Be More Show for Agents. Click on the thumbnail. Then click that middle tab that says reviews and click write a review. Tap on those 5 stars, of course. Let us know how awesome this show is and how it's helped you. And if that's too much for you, I understand, and just switch to Spotify already. Thank you so much, and back to the show.
Biggest vice you're working on. That's a great one. So yes, because who's your worst critic?
Ourselves.
100%.
Actually, I was going to say Drake. That sounds bad.
Oh, yeah.
Just kidding.
I bet my wife would be like, Ruben. My wife's sweet. All right.
We know.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's super nice. She's definitely the heart of the family, which is why I was attracted to her. So I'm going to say this real quick, and then I'll move into your question, I promise. One of the times I knew that she was the one is I grew up in a family where you didn't cross anyone in the family. It was almost run like a mob. Like, seriously. Like, if you cross somebody, it wouldn't matter if you were blood or not, you're out of the family. One try, you're done. That's it. And I never questioned it. It's just what we grew up in. So then I go to visit my wife's family, and her family are like arguing, and she actually tries to make things work. And I was like, what is that? What is she doing? And then I was like, that's probably a great quality, and we would probably mix very well. And that was one of the first defining moments. So anyway, she's very sweet and wants to make things work. That being said, my biggest vice right now is I don't know if this is a vice necessarily, but I'm trying to understand me on a deeper level, like the human in me, the spirit in me. And it's kind of brought me down this path of learning moon cycles, if you guys even follow that stuff. So instead of your sun cycle, which is what we all know, like what your sign is, Libra or Capricorn or whatever, there's a moon cycle, and there's a time there's a time, place, and where the moon was sitting in the sky at the time that you were born. Now, there's a lot of energy that comes from the moon, because, and you can look just at what the tides do, right? If the ocean, there's more water on this earth than land. And if the freaking moon can move it, it might be moving you a little bit in some way. So I've been looking more into that just to find out who I am on a deeper level, how I communicate with others, because I can come across very cut out, just, and move on. It's the world I came from with my family, and it's just something that's kind of rolling to it. But I want to better that too, but I got to understand me first. So I guess that's a vice, and the moon cycle and understanding the energy and when the highest energy of myself is in play, depending on where the moon is, which I know it's coming up in 1 week. There's a process that you can do to get prepared for that. And there's these cycles you have to go through. So I'm working on it. I'm working on it, but it's definitely one of my vices is honestly, I could treat people better. And if people feel like I'm treating them good, that's great. But I feel like I could do better. And so I'm going internal on this, and it brought me to the moon. So,
well, I'm glad you did. I had no idea about you, and my head just exploded. That's super fascinating. And as you continue to learn stuff, please keep us posted, because that's very interesting and very outside of my world.
So, if you want, and my wife jumped on this too, for the people that you're in relationship with. You could do friends and stuff too. So it doesn't have to be that type of relationship. It could just be a relationship, if that made sense. I just said relationship too many times. But the app is called The Pattern. The app is called The Pattern. This one will help you. I was looking into it before I found the pattern, but the pattern's going to help you. You can actually mash in your relationships. This could be, if we're talking real estate, this could be people on your team. This could be your admin. This could be other business people. This could be friends. Or it could be your lover, right? Or mother, or whatever else. And it is shockingly scary accurate, but it runs all on the moon. It's what we've started to do? We bring it up at night. And I'll tell you why. We bring it up at night because it has a daily thing in it. It has a daily thing of what happened today. The reason we bring it up at night is because we don't want it to influence our day if we brought it up in the morning. Oh, you know what I'm saying? And then we read it at night, we're like, that literally happened today. It's all very ridiculous. Now I'm just going to now. So
do it.
Hold on.
Also, we will link to the pattern in the show notes, because I am very curious. I'm going to be looking at this.
I wish there was some kind of code for me to get a kickback, but I don't
Let us
pay for
know.
this, so
Oh,
you probably can. You probably can't pay it. But it says, today is a great day to take in the simple pleasures. You don't have to conquer the world every day. Finding a balance between the rest and productivity will help you to overcome any challenge. And guess what? I'm effing exhausted today. I'm like tired because I'm not sleeping well. Now that could align with really anybody, but I'm not reading, but it goes into like romantic relationships and stuff. So it's so interesting, man. And then when you tie in that person, it will break down where both of you are at today. It's just all very interesting. So my vice is me, and I'm working on it.
I love that. You're improving in every aspect of your life. I mean, you have the health, you have like your inner self, your background that you touch on. Well, you didn't touch too much about RJ, but that's totally cool. You don't need to. And just everything. I love it.
It doesn't exist.
I love that. No.
Rest
Who
in
the fuck
peace.
is RJ? Yeah. R.I.P.
Listen, if you want to kill a piece of yourself, that anyone listening, you can kill a piece of yourself, and that's okay. You just let it go, and you can grow something else in that place. And I'm a living example of that. So
Good. And I'm sure that other people can relate to. So going into our wrap-up questions. You can answer related to the deep dive as far as what you spoke about today, or it could be something completely different. But what would you consider your favorite app or tool to be?
what do you think?
Okay, let's do something else then.
Calendar. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny.
But let me say
the
this.
next. Oh yeah.
No. Oh, okay. Well, I was just going to say this because I want to do both, right? For anybody who's listening, I also want to deliver value to you guys. So outside of calendar, I would say my CRM. Could not live without it. That is definitely the biggest, outside of calendar, that's the biggest tool in my whole life, personal and professional. The CRM will keep relationships close to you because you don't have to remember it. Love my CRM.
Totally. And we could have guessed those two. But okay, next question, which is actually kind of funny because you've alluded it so much. But the next question is, what events are you going to this year?
Yes. So I'm going to the EXP Shareholder Summit next month. That we stay for a week. I do have a 12-step process to every event that you might want to go to if you do want to follow it. It's on my YouTube channel. Also going to the Locker Room. They've got their own event going down in August, I think, in Florida as well. Might even be Orlando. Those two events right now, if you would have asked me last year, I would have just went on and on about events. The last few years, that has been one of my one things, and building relationships at events. Yeah. So
Same.
This year is a little bit slower. So I think only 3 events this year.
How can we or the audience help you in your business?
Oh man, Mike, I'll say my gut reaction is don't, help yourself first. don't, nothing. You need to just look in the mirror and decide what you need to do today to make the bigger picture work. So work on yourself. That's my first gut reaction. To help me, man, I would just say to help me. Okay, to help me, give me feedback on what you thought about this podcast. Did you learn anything? And if so, let me know. If you didn't learn anything, cool, let me know. If you felt like I could have done something better, let me know. So I guess just raw feedback is what I want from today's podcast.
And that's a perfect segue into our very last question, which is, where can people find you to give you that feedback?
So I guess wherever you post this, I can read the comments. But outside of that, I would say anything Proven by Ruben. So Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, it's all Proven by Ruben, TikTok. And what other new app platforms may come out, it will be tied into Proven by Ruben.
Awesome.
That's it.
After you follow him, if you haven't already followed us, you can find us on Instagram as well, YouTube as well. Obviously, this show is on YouTube. We are Allie the Agent and The Shelby Show on the Instagram. So holler at us all.
You better. They drop knowledge all the time. You got to follow them.
Yeah.
Oh, shucks.
Awesome.
Thanks, Ruben.
Well, that's it for today. You know what to do. Be a bro.
Woo! Share the show. Get it, Ruben? Did you hear it? Be a bro, share the show. We're working on it, okay?
Should we re-record that part?
No, I think it was fine that way, or no? Did you hear it? Did you understand?
I would say keep it and maybe even keep this part, but I'm telling you, you're gonna love going back a year from now and watching this happen. It's going to be so cool. And which is also going to be like a teaching moment for anybody who just like wants to get ready. You could then show them the challenge, and nothing comes out perfect. It's a little rough around the edges at first. And so what? At least you started.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening, dude. If you want the golden nugget that this guest provided, see the show notes or just go straight to theagentgoldmine.com. That's where we keep the resources for you. Till next time.